I love to laugh. Laughter therapy during tough times. At this moment, all lines are on listening mode only, and during the presentation there will be a question and answer period. If you have difficulties during the conference, please press on the star key and then 0 to have the assistance of someone. Also, please note that this conference is being taped today, November 18th at 1:30. I will now give the phone to Iris Payson. Ovarian Cancer Canada welcomes you to this phone conference for women who are suffering from ovarian cancer and their family. We are very happy to invite you to the session I Love to Laugh, Laughter Therapy During Tough Times. We would like to thank Dr. Florence Bailey for having accepted to give in this presentation. She's a psychosocial director at Montreal at the Clown Doctor organization, which gives therapeutic services to patients in different hospitals in Quebec. She did her studies in psychology, and she was very interested in the quality of life of hospitalized patients and in the power of play and laughter in the field of health. In 2007, he published The Touch That Heals. Today, Dr. Vigny will speak of the therapeutic well-being of therapy through laughter. You will find the place of laughter and humor in our history and our future, and you will also know how your sense of humor and of play influences your well-being. My name is Iris Pizon, and I am in charge of the telephonic trainings. Ovarian Cancer Canada works very hard for women suffering ovarian cancer and their caretakers. We hope that you will like this phone conference and that you will ask questions to Dr. Vigny. To encourage the public to ask questions, we would ask you to just give your first name or a fictitious one if that makes you more comfortable. The last phone conference in movement to the well-being of exercise could be found on YouTube, www.youtube.com/ovariancanada. These are put in segments of 10 minutes so they're easier to watch and so that you can go back to them. Please subscribe to YouTube to have access to them. We would also like to thank Mrs. Elion Kaskap for her interpretation services today. We are very happy today to have survivors, members of their family, health care professionals, and other members of society present. And we hope that you will be able to help us with your comments. We will send you an evaluation form by email or by mail, and we would really like to have your response. Now I'll give the floor to Dr. Florence Vigny. Hello everyone, and thank you for being here today. The theme of the conference, as we mentioned, is the theme of humor and laughter, and more globally that of joy. How humor, laughter, little happy moments can have an effect on our state of mind, our well-being, our physical well-being, and even on our health. So humor is a small word, but it means a lot of things, so much that it is sometimes very difficult to specify its frontiers. Humor is not only a joke, a funny story. It can also be a light willingness, a way of approaching life, a smile, a way of looking at things differently. And we will even sometimes define humor as a form of wisdom. We think, for example, to the look of a certain Oriental wise men, or some of our philosophies, where some people had a greater sense of humor, and that made these special people seem as if they had a sense of maturity, of personal wisdom. So humor as a trait of character, as an attitude facing life, or as a secret of wisdom, we see that humor defines very different things. In our culture, in the culture we live in now, humor is also present through different elements. I think of the National School of Humor that exists in Quebec, the tradition of stand-up comics that is developing every time more, where the media present characters that make us laugh. Businesses also sometimes develop programs of coaching through laughter, as if laughter should be developed within their employees to struggle against professional burnout, or to improve the quality of life at work. And finally, we can think of other elements like the laughter clubs that have been developed about 10 years ago by an Indian doctor, and that are based on the idea that the voluntary laughter, we'll speak about it more in detail later, but that voluntary laughter allows physical well-being of relaxation at the psychological and muscle level. So the presence of laughter on the social sphere, all this has to do with the wide public aspect of humor and laughter. There's also a second sphere that has been very present in the last 15 years, which is the interest of scientific research around the benefits of laughter and humor on health. The first research in this field is from 1974, where an individual called Norman Cousy, who had very bad arthritis causing a lot of articulation pain and physical pain, noticed that when he watched regularly comedies, comedic movies, he managed to reduce the amount of anti-pain medicine that he was taking, and this was published in an English scientific journal, and this started with the first research on the benefits of laughter and humor on health. Since then, there's been more and more research developed, and I'm going to speak to you about that today. So, if we take laughter as a small introduction on what happens when we laugh, when we do some humor, and then we will go into the details of the benefits of the physiological and psychological levels. Laughter in general provokes a liberation that we can call emotional, because it allows us to relax, to get rid of stress. We feel our stomach inflate and deflate. It also allows us to evacuate emotions that were present, sometimes hidden, sometimes contracted, and it gives movement. It gives movement to the body. We laugh, and at the same time it gives movement in terms of our emotions. Laughter in general also provokes a change in our way of seeing things. Psychologists will speak of a transformation of perception. It's as if we were changing our framework. We have a situation in front of us that can be difficult, that can be traumatic, that can be heavy. And all of a sudden, the fact of developing a form of humor, the fact of laughing, even if it's a very short moment, will allow us to remove ourselves from that and to open a window that allows us to see the situation from a different point of view. So it changes our framework, it widens our vision, and it allows us to see things more globally, more widely, without concentrating on just one element. And hence to renew also our way of confronting this situation, because when we see things differently, this also allows us to develop new ideas, new attitudes, to adapt our way of doing things to this new situation and maybe living it better.